What if every job paid the exact same salary? Imagine waking up tomorrow to headlines announcing that starting today, every single job on the planet pays exactly the same amount. The brain surgeon performing 12-hour operations makes the same as the person restocking shelves at the grocery store. The teacher shaping the next generation earns identical pay to the celebrity influencer posting videos from their living room. No more, no less, across every profession, every industry, and every country on Earth. It sounds like the ultimate solution to inequality, a fairness dream come true. But peel back the surface, and this single change would trigger one of the strangest social experiments humanity has ever witnessed. Let us start with the immediate emotional reaction, because this would not feel fair to everyone equally. Surgeons, engineers, airline pilots, and anyone who spent a decade or more in school accumulating debt and sacrificing their 20s to master an incredibly difficult skill would feel an instant wave of anger and betrayal. Think about someone who spent 8 years in medical school and residency, working 80-hour weeks for a fraction of normal pay, just to eventually earn a high salary as compensation for that sacrifice. Now imagine telling that person their years of grueling training result in the exact same paycheck as someone who took a 3-day training course to work at a fast food counter. Even if the world claims this is fair, it would not feel fair, and that emotional sting would ripple through every high-skilled profession almost immediately. This leads us to the first major crisis, the incentive problem. Humans are strange creatures, and while many of us dream about jobs we would do purely for passion, the truth is that difficult, dangerous, and demanding careers often exist specifically because higher pay convinces people to take them on. Why would someone spend a decade becoming a heart surgeon, sacrificing sleep, relationships, and their mental health, if they could make identical money working a much simpler and less stressful job? Within just a few years, we would likely see a dramatic decline in people choosing to pursue medicine, engineering, law, and other demanding fields. The supply of highly skilled professionals would begin drying up precisely when the world needs them most, creating a slow-motion crisis in hospitals, infrastructure, and critical industries. But here is where it gets even more complicated. Even if pay becomes equal, working conditions absolutely do not become equal. A coal miner still faces the same physical dangers underground. A firefighter still runs into burning buildings while everyone else runs out. If the financial incentive disappears entirely, why would anyone continue choosing the harder, more dangerous, or more unpleasant path when an easier job pays exactly the same? Society could see mass shortages in fields nobody wants to do without extra compensation, like garbage collection, deep-sea fishing, sewage maintenance, or high-altitude construction work. Meanwhile, comfortable office jobs with air conditioning and minimal physical risk would become wildly oversaturated with applicants, creating a bizarre labor imbalance across the entire global economy. Now let us talk about something even more unexpected, the psychological shift in how people view their own worth and identity. For better or worse, salary has become deeply tied to self-esteem and social status in modern society. Suddenly, without financial differences separating professions, people would need to find entirely new ways to measure success and prestige. We might see an explosion of alternative status symbols, like exclusive access to certain experiences, recognition through awards and titles, or even competition over having the most impressive-sounding job description rather than the highest paycheck. Human beings are naturally competitive and hierarchical, and even in a world of perfect financial equality, we would almost certainly invent new hierarchies to replace the one we lost. Here is a fascinating twist nobody considers immediately: the impact on entrepreneurship and business ownership. If every job pays the same salary, does that also apply to business owners and entrepreneurs, or only to traditional employees? If someone starts a wildly successful company and takes on enormous financial risk, personal debt, and years of unpaid struggle before finally succeeding, would they still only earn the same salary as someone working a 9-to-5 job with zero risk involved? If entrepreneurship no longer offers greater financial reward for greater risk, we might see a massive decline in innovation and new business creation. Why would anyone risk their life savings starting a company if the eventual reward is capped at exactly the same income as staying safely employed elsewhere? Let us shift focus to global economics, because equal pay within one country creates challenges, but equal pay across the entire world introduces an entirely different layer of chaos. The cost of living varies dramatically between countries and even between cities within the same country. A salary that provides a comfortable lifestyle in a small rural town might be barely enough to survive in a massive, expensive city. If everyone worldwide earns identical pay, but the cost of an apartment in Tokyo, New York, or London remains drastically higher than rural areas in other countries, we would see enormous shifts in population as people flee expensive cities entirely, unable to justify the cost of living without higher compensation to match it. Meanwhile, this could ironically make previously affordable areas of the world suddenly overwhelmed with new residents, causing housing crises and infrastructure strain in regions never designed to support massive population growth. Now here is where things get genuinely mind-bending. The black market and underground economy that would inevitably emerge. Anytime you remove financial incentives from a system, humans find creative workarounds. We would likely see the rise of secretive bonus systems, under-the-table payments, and bartering networks specifically designed to reward exceptional skill or effort outside the official equal pay structure. Highly skilled workers might quietly demand extra compensation through gifts, favors, or hidden payments, just to convince them to continue performing difficult or specialized work. Essentially, an entire shadow economy could form specifically to recreate the wage differences that the official system tried to eliminate. Let us also consider what happens to education and skill development in a world with equal pay. Currently, one of the biggest motivations for pursuing higher education or specialized training is the promise of a better-paying career at the end of that journey. If salary becomes irrelevant to career choice, would people still pursue difficult degrees purely out of passion and curiosity? Or would education rates in demanding fields decline dramatically as people choose easier, more enjoyable paths instead? On the positive side, this could lead to a beautiful shift where people finally pursue careers based purely on genuine interest and fulfillment, rather than financial pressure. Imagine a world where someone becomes a teacher purely because they love shaping young minds, not because it offers financial security, or where an aspiring artist pursues their passion fully knowing their income will not suffer for choosing creativity over corporate stability. This actually leads us to perhaps the most beautiful potential outcome of this entire scenario, the possibility of genuine happiness increasing across society. Numerous studies suggest that once basic needs and reasonable comfort are met, additional income provides diminishing returns on personal happiness. If financial anxiety and the constant comparison of salaries between friends, family, and coworkers completely disappeared, humanity might experience a profound reduction in stress, jealousy, and materialistic competition. People could finally choose careers based on their genuine talents and passions, rather than chasing the highest possible paycheck, potentially creating a world filled with more fulfilled teachers, artists, scientists, and caregivers who chose their profession purely out of love for the work itself. However, we cannot ignore the massive challenge this creates for global governments attempting to manage such a system. Who decides how equal pay gets distributed? Is it based on hours worked? Or does someone working 2 hours a week earn the same as someone working 60 hours? Governments and international organizations would need to create entirely new economic frameworks just to figure out the logistics of implementing and maintaining such a radical system. And enforcement alone, across billions of workers worldwide, would be an administrative nightmare unlike anything ever attempted in human history. So here is the real question we're thinking about. If every job paid exactly the same salary, would you choose a completely different career path than the one you currently have, freed from financial pressure to pursue whatever genuinely makes you happy? Or, with the removal of financial competition, actually strip away the very drive and ambition that pushes humanity to innovate, create, and push the boundaries of what we are capable of achieving? Perhaps the uncomfortable truth is that inequality, as painful as it can be, might be deeply intertwined with the progress and innovation that built the modern world we live in today, and removing it entirely could come with consequences far stranger than anyone ever imagined. Thank you for watching the entire video. Please like and subscribe. It helps out a channel more than you know.